Are we live?
We're live.
I think we're live. Hello everyone. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Well, Ask Andy Anything, really. We got quite a lot of questions.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming on. We're having a bit of trouble with the video, so if you could let us know if it looks okay.
And sounds okay.
And sounds okay, that would be great. We're having to use a different video setting today, so hopefully it's not too terrible. But now see, it looks like it's showing the wrong screen. Yeah. Okay. Can anybody hear us, please? Anyone?
Maybe just try Zoom again.
This is going swimmingly.
Somebody had to tinker with the tech.
Oh, you know what I could do? I wonder if I should just do it like a Google Meet.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, or seems like people can't actually see anything yet. So maybe Denise, Michelle, somebody can confirm whether you can see and hear anything yet.
Well, I can see me because I'm on the wrong camera. Sorry, folks. It's all Eva's fault.
Not really. It's actually your fault. Oh, they can't see and hear us yet.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Video. We want to do the webcam. Okay, we should be okay now. And then over here, I want to get rid of that. Oops. Okay, they should be able to hear us now.
Okay, now we're on. People can hear us, see us, and we look wide and we look pixelated.
Okay, but it's working
that's
now.
What it's, so that's what it's going to be.
Okay,
here we go.
Try to put this in full screen. No, just leave it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, we'll just leave it.
Okay. Cool. So here we are. Congratulations on your thousands viz on Tableau Public.
Thank you very much. It's been fun. It's been a long journey, but good. Yeah, and thanks everybody for tuning in. And thanks everybody that submitted questions. A lot of very interesting ones. Hopefully the video and the audio will catch up to each other at some point. Just having a bit of trouble getting it all to sync up. So the video should catch up. Yeah. So it says YouTube saying it's not receiving enough video, but it should catch up. Hopefully, we'll see.
No, we're not moving. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think let's just get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got our questions. What do I want to start with? First question I have, how do you like the cookies I made you today?
They're okay. Not bad. Good effort. No chocolate.
They're peanut butter cookies.
Yeah. Peanut butter cookies. There was a question about nuts in cookies though, wasn't there?
Yes, and I believe that question was from Denise. And she asked, what's the problem with putting nuts in chocolate chip cookies?
Because they're chocolate chip cookies and that spoils the cookies. I don't really like nuts in cookies at all, except for maybe peanuts. So sometimes I make peanut butter cookies with peanuts in them. But I generally with chocolate chip cookies, I just don't like nuts in them. I think I think it should be against the law.
Okay, I guess that's a pretty clear statement. Now, we thought we'll do this Ask Me Anything because so many people follow you and learn from you.
Okay.
So we've got a bunch of really cool questions. Some from people I don't think I recognize some of these names. So
I'm starting the stream again.
I'm just gonna have a cookie.
Okay. Hopefully they can see us.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it a second. Okay, I think we're back in business now.
Yes.
All right, a little bit better. So
You talked about your training.
we switched seats. Okay. Well, all right. Thank you. What was the question?
I do the eating, you do the training. What's your training?
Yeah. So I used to train for marathons, but I kind of felt like I reached my peak on those, and I really, really love running, but I wanted to try something different. So last year I did a couple of triathlons. I did a sprint triathlon and an Olympic distance triathlon, and really enjoyed them. So I decided this year to go ahead and sign up for a long distance marathon, a full distance Ironman. It's called Challenge Roth. It's in Roth, Germany. It's supposed to be one of the best triathlons in the world. Like, there's thousands of people just in the streets, lining the streets, cheering for you. And it just got me really excited, like watching some of the videos. So I was like, you know what, I'll just put in for their lottery and see what happens. And I got in. And then I was like, oh crap, now I actually need to do it. So I started training that was supposed to be in July. I started training for it September a year ago. So it's been, 14 months now that I've been training with no events, which has been a bit frustrating, but that's okay. So that's what I'm doing now. So a typical week, like today I had an hour ride, and then I had to do some strength conditioning. Yesterday I had a run. Tomorrow I have a run. Thursday I have a ride. Usually I think Saturday would be about 4 hours on the bike. Sunday is probably another 2-hour run, something like that. So it's generally about, 15 hours a week, I guess.
Maybe a bit less at the moment, but
Yeah.
definitely during summer. Yeah.
But yeah, so I burn a lot of calories, so I eat a lot of calories.
Yeah. I try to make sure that you eat enough. And you work with a coach.
I do. I work with Rhea Hubble. She's with Precision Race Team. She trains athletes all over the world. We have, it's a really, really great team. I'm so happy that I decided to join their team. It's, even though it's an individual sport, it's really nice to know that you have all these other people cheering for you at the same time. They're a really wonderful group of people.
And I think I saw a question actually about how do you get everything done? Like, I think Swati actually, if I'm not mistaken, she asked, where do I find it? Oh, it's a bit tricky. I can't see it now, but yeah, how you get everything done between, work and YouTube and Tableau and then your training. Would you say that Rhea is part of that whole concept?
Definitely, yeah. But even before Rhea, I'm a very regimented person.
No kidding.
So even when I was doing like the marathon training plans that I do are usually 6 days a week. So it requires a lot of discipline. What I do is I kind of back my day up from when I need to start work. I don't train in the evenings because that's my time and my time with my kids. So I need to, so I don't do training in the evening. So if I have, let's say I need to do an hour and a half on the bike, and I need to start work at 9:30, that means I need to be done by 8:30 in order to have breakfast and get showered. And then, so that means I need to be done. I need to start my ride no later than 7. But usually I futz around for a bit before and after. So that's probably another half hour. So that's 6:30 probably. I need to probably tell myself I need to be on the bike by 6:30, so I'm on it by 6:45. Because, you get on the bike, you got to pick a Netflix show to watch, all those, really important things. And then it's the same with the running, except there's no TV when I run outside.
Yeah. And I guess part of what helps you do all those things is that you cut out the distractions. Like there's no TV in the house, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
And it doesn't mean there's no downtime. It just means it's deliberate, I guess.
And then I guess to add on, that's kind of like how I fit the exercise in. As far as like doing tutorials, like creating videos and doing Makeover Monday, I just put those things in my calendar. I'm fortunate to have a boss that's very supportive of that, and he understands the value that it brings to the community, and he knows that as a company, it's good for us to put out content for people to learn from, because if more and more people start using Tableau and Alteryx, it's just going to benefit our business. So I'm very fortunate to have a boss that I work for, that I can allocate time in my day to do these sorts of things. And I do them often enough now that they don't take very long. So I recorded a video today, for example, and the video I think was about 10 minutes long. The whole thing probably took me 15 minutes. So it doesn't take long at all.
And maybe an observation from my side, it's also not about perfection. Like you get it done, but you don't fret about it being perfect and polished. You do your videos typically in one take.
Yeah.
And if you mess up, you mess up.
Yeah.
Other people might spend 2 hours editing a video, and that's time that you don't have to
spend. I've gotten feedback from people before that they actually like that my videos aren't polished because they see me mess up, and they see me do some things that maybe weren't like really scripted and things like that. So plus, I just don't have the time to do any sophisticated editing. So I just do one take, and that's it. Usually if I mess up, it's when I'm doing the kind of first 30 seconds. So sometimes I have to do that a couple times. But other than that, I just go for it and see where it gets me. I see Scott just asked about a Peloton.
I wanted to leave it for later.
Absolutely not. I don't know why anybody would buy a Peloton. You end up with this gigantic piece of furniture, basically. It takes up all the space in your house. It's cheaper to buy a really, really nice bike and an indoor turbo trainer, and then you get 2 for 1.
Yeah.
So I have a Wahoo Kicker turbo trainer that I put on a mat, and then I can just hook my bike up to it, and I'm good to go.
Yeah. And plus, on a nice day, you just take it off the turbo trainer and go outside.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have an extra thing,
yeah.
Right? Now, on the topic of training, there have been another couple of questions. So Michelle, who is dialed in, she asks, how do you recover or prevent injuries and still stay active? She's asking for a friend.
Well, that's actually a pretty easy question. I just do what my coach says. I just try to be a good student, and I put all of my trust in her that she's looking out for me. She has a way to monitor my form and my fitness and things like that, and she knows when to dial it back. I'm pretty diligent about stretching after, even if it's only 5 minutes. It's very important that you do stretching after, especially after running. I try to do it. And then, of course, I'm really into smoothies now, so we typically try to make one of those real quick right after the workout, and just in case I can't eat breakfast, that'll at least get me through to lunchtime. But yeah, I just do what my coach says.
Shall we throw in a little smoothie recipe?
We could.
Yeah. So Andy's favorite smoothie is 3 bananas, about 2 cups of almond milk, a few ice cubes, a big dollop of peanut butter. Quarter cup. That's about 350 calories right there. And then either Hershey's chocolate sauce or what I tend to
syrup.
use.
Hershey's syrup.
Sorry, chocolate syrup. Clearly I'm not from America. Or instead of Hershey's, you could just use dark cocoa powder and some maple syrup. Blend it all up.
And vanilla.
And a splash of vanilla.
Yeah.
Which I sometimes am too stingy to add, but I don't tell them. So yeah, it's a meal. It's not a snack or a drink.
It's great. It's really fantastic.
Yeah, and Michelle.
We can put a link to the recipe. I'll put a link to the recipe in the description after this is done.
Yeah, and Michelle said, so you outsource. So this was in relation to Raya, and I think it's also what I was referring to earlier. Giving the decision making to someone else who knows what they're doing, and you just execute.
Yeah, that's one less decision I have to make then. Yep.
Yeah.
I read a book. What was that book? The
7 Habits?
No. It's this book. It's by Mark Manson. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And highly recommend this book. It's super hilarious, but it's really, really good at getting you to think about what's really important and what you should spend your time on. And it's been incredibly helpful to me to think about, what's the benefit for me in that? How much time is it going to take? And just thinking about, does it really matter? And get rid of all those little crappy things that don't really make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think we're going to go a bit deeper now. We're going to go away from the food and workout questions because there is a question from Kevin Wee, and I think it's quite intense. When was the last time you had a major meltdown or breakdown in your career, and how did you get out of that frustration?
That's actually a really easy question. I think it was the beginning of 2019. I'm pretty sure it was the beginning of 2019. Does that sound right? I think.
Yeah.
I think it was the beginning of 2019. I know Luke Stoughton is on. He'd be able to verify that. I was really, really not enjoying work. I wouldn't really consider it. I don't know if I've ever really had a meltdown, but it was probably the closest I came to really not enjoying it anymore. I read a book called 40 Days to the Work You Love, and I can put a link into that as well. It's a very religious book, but I just ignored that part. And one of the things that it talks about is you have to find, something you're good at, something you really enjoy doing, and then something that's a combination of those two things. So you might have something that you're really good at, but you don't like doing. You might have something that you really like doing, but you're not good at. Did I say the same thing twice?
I don't think so. I think
so you want to find where those two overlap. Something that you're really good at, that you really enjoy doing. And then the idea is you'll never work a day in your life. And that's the kind of job that I have now. I get paid basically to interact with you all, to really to do my hobby. And then I just pass that on to the people that I work with through the data school. But as far as the meltdown, I was really, really not enjoying my job. What I did was I wrote everything down. I needed to kind of get it out. It was just literally like a bulleted list of things, no order to it, just a brain dump. And that kind of evolved over a few weeks. I shared it with my closest friends and had them read through it and give me their thoughts and things like that. And because I wasn't very confident that I could publish it. There's this perception that the data schoolers and people at work that sometimes have of me that I can do everything and I never have any problems. And that's just not true. I'm like anybody else that way. And, but I didn't have because people say that, I didn't have the confidence to post about, stuff not going well for me. And it was really hard to do. But once I did it and I got, I only shared it with a few people internally. We don't do email, so I posted it on Convo. That's our internal communication platform. And I tagged a few people in it. And within 2 minutes, I got a phone call from Robin Kennedy, who runs our consulting team, just calling to check in on me. I didn't answer his call because I wasn't really in a good place to talk to people. But I called him back the next day. I sent him a message back and just told him I just wasn't ready to talk. But I got support from the company almost immediately, and that was great. They helped me. What was great was there were a lot of things that I was worrying about that I really didn't need to worry about. They were things that either weren't my responsibility or things that other people could do. And it was almost like I was trying to do too much. And I needed somebody to tell me that it was okay to not do some things. But if I didn't have the support of a great company, I don't know what I would have done. I probably wouldn't have ever said anything. I would have just been miserable in my job.
Thank you.
Is that a long answer?
It's a good answer.
Okay.
Yeah. And people have commented that they may be at a crossroads themselves, and hopefully sharing that helps people to figure out how they can tackle it. Now, along those same lines, how did you actually end up at the information lab? Should people just read that somewhere? Is it somewhere for them to read? Should we skip to the next question?
I can go through it real quick. So Tom Brown is the founder of the Information Lab. Craig Bloodworth was one of the first, was in the first group of Zens like I was. And I've known both of them for, I don't know, probably since about 2010, just through the community. I'd come over to the Tableau conference in London in 2014, and we kind of decided that we wanted to give our kids an international experience. And it was at the time where my oldest son would have been getting ready to go into high school. So we knew if we wanted to do something like that, it would have to be before he started high school. There was a point in my career where I was doing consulting as a project manager, and I really wanted to move to Vietnam, and that very nearly happened. Some things worked out with some things happened with some of the people in the company, so I didn't get to go. But it was something I'd always wanted to do. I don't know why, but in that summer of 2014, I sort of realized, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. So I started talking with Tom and Craig, and we talked about kind of the things that I love to do. So I love to teach. That's my favorite thing to do. And they talked about kind of what they needed as a company. So they needed a lot more consultants than they had. And that's kind of where the idea for the data school came about. Good.
So I guess the lesson learned is, you get the cookie for people to just be open and talk to people about what they would like to do, and maybe something comes along. Now, Kamal Deep, he has quite a few questions, and I really like them. First one is, who had the biggest impact on the person you have become?
On the person I've become?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Well, it's got to be my parents, of course. Do I need to think outside my family?
Would it be your kids?
Well, it probably shifted. It was probably first my parents, because of course they're the ones that mold you. And of course they always encouraged me. They were just unbelievable. I had a lot of freedom as a kid, but I never. I wasn't a bad kid. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't want to disappoint my parents, but it's not like they made me feel guilty or anything. It's I don't know if that makes sense, but they taught me to be a good person, to focus on my studies, to be diligent, to be on time, to be committed to things. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Do it right then. Don't wait. Like with homework, when I was at university, I did my homework in the morning right after classes, and then I had lunch and I had baseball the rest of the day, and then at night I didn't have to worry about cramming homework in or anything. I could relax, and I found that doing my homework immediately after class helped it stick a bit better. That's why I blog, because when I blog, it helps things that I learned stick better, because I have to write it down for other people to read. So while many of you might look at the blog, I actually write it for myself. You people just happen to read it. So because I don't want to forget how to do things. And then, of course, once you have kids, your whole life kind of turns upside down. So we had our oldest. My oldest son's now 20, but when he was 20 months old, we had a set of twins. So we had 3 kids at the same time. So that was very, very hard. And then for some reason, we decided to have a 4th. Of course, I'm glad we did, but it's really interesting how parents forget how hard it is when you have really young kids, and then they, it's just one of those natural things, I suppose. But they're so much fun. Especially little kids, they're so funny. So I'd say my parents and my kids.
Yeah. Is there anything that makes you angry?
Well, nuts and cookies would be one.
Swift not loading.
Yeah. I think repetitive or what is it? Repetitive tardiness? That's not really like somebody that's late often and consistently. that really, really irritates me, especially when I'm trying to teach. So that really pisses me off. What are some things that make me angry?
Yeah. Maybe there's things in like society that make you angry.
I'm really angry that America doesn't have national health care. So after living in the UK and realizing how great the NHS is, it's disgusting to me that the US does not have national health care. That makes me angry.
Okay, good. Any interesting people that you met while you were traveling?
Let's see. Well, I met a lot of really interesting people when I traveled to Vietnam. I went there 3 times to Ho Chi Minh City, and I still have people I talk to there. Amazing people. I had learned to speak Vietnamese as well. Can't speak it anymore, I imagine. But it was one of those things where they were all having to learn English when they would come over and work in the US. So I thought, well, I'm going to try to learn Vietnamese. And I learned it through a method called Pimsleur, Pimsleur. And the idea is you're learning conversational language. So think about how a kid learns to speak. They don't learn to read and write and then speak. They learn to speak and then read and write. So it's kind of that same idea. And it's just immersion into the conversation. But the funny part of that was they didn't know that I was learning Vietnamese. And when I went there for the first time, they got the whole team together in a meeting, for just to say hi or whatever. And I decided to give a little speech, and I decided to give it in Vietnamese. And of course, they were all really surprised that I had learned and everything. And then at the end, they were all laughing. And I was like, what did I do? I was getting kind of embarrassed. And they said, well, you did it with a North Vietnamese accent. And I was like, it was really funny. I still remember these 2 ladies that I used to go see every single day in the market because I would walk to work. It was a really long walk, but I really enjoyed like the people watching and stuff. And I could still, right now, I could go to the market in the middle. I forget what the name of the market is. And I could find those people. They'd made that much of an impression on me. And let's see, who are some other people? I still remember the people in the coffee shop next door to the office. And let's see what happens.
Oh, we're back.
Okay, I think we're back. Okay, great. Sorry about that. I should have just used the embedded video that's inside of YouTube, but set it up for a streaming service instead. So sorry about that. Okay, where were we? I don't remember the last question you guys heard, so we'll just move on to the next one.
It's about your favorite country. So,
we lost Eva in the video as well.
Yeah, I'm still here. So let me pick up the next one. This is hopefully easy, and I'm going to make it your top 3 tips. How can people, and this comes from John, how can he be more intentional with learning Tableau?
There we go. How can you be more intentional with learning Tableau? Well, I mean, you have to put the time in. There's no easy way to do that. Put the time in your calendar. If you want to learn, make it a priority. Do Makeover Monday every week. You have to do these skills over and over again in order to get better. Once you're comfortable doing Makeover Monday and you're starting to build up that portfolio, maybe jump in and try to do a couple Workout Wednesdays. But I would not jump into Workout Wednesday until you are experienced. You're going to get very frustrated very quickly. You have to build the basics first.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe this is a good reminder that Andy, having now done 1,000 vizzes in Tableau Public, like it's taken you 13 years?
No, because Tableau Public hasn't been around.
Okay, well, sorry, to build your skills, 13 and a half years since April 2007.
Yeah.
Like, don't underestimate how much work has gone into Andy making it look so effortless and easy. So don't compare yourself with him, but maybe learn from his approach and his path. Okay. So, Oh, okay. If you had not been associated with Makeover Monday, i.e. if you hadn't started Makeover Monday, Tableau Tip Tuesday and Workout Wednesday, what other community projects would you be part of?
I'm kind of curious as to what the community would be like as far as community projects if Makeover Monday hadn't started. Because we see all these other initiatives that are starting because of the success of Makeover Monday.
Yeah.
What would I be doing from a... Well, it's an impossible question to answer because I don't know what other community initiatives there would have been at the time. But I would say, I don't know. I mean, for my own development, I would still just be blogging and building vizzes.
Yeah, good point. And
it's buffering again.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see if we can continue anyway. Where was the question? I'm not finding it. Oh, yeah. So in terms of chart types, there's obviously a lot of data art out there now and very advanced charts, but you seem to stick to the basics: bar charts, line charts, scatter plots. Why?
Well, because they're easy for people to understand. I've built some of the fancy things before, but I don't really like the way that they look, and I think they're too hard to understand. And part of it also goes to the way that I teach. I have to teach people how to do bar charts and line charts and scatter plots and heat maps and maps. I have to teach them how to do those things really, really well. And if I don't do them really well, how can I teach somebody else to do them really well?
Yeah. Good points. Luke, your friend Luke, is asking, what's your favorite character in The Wizard of Oz?
My favorite character in The Wizard of Oz? That's a really hard question. Gosh, I don't remember a lot of maybe the Scarecrow. I don't know why. Let's go with that.
Okay.
We're buffering again here.
He's also asking, if you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
Okay, hang on there. Okay, I think we will be back here in a second. Can you at least still hear us when it's buffering? Okay, we should be back now. Okay. All right.
Henry is on. Who's your favorite kid?
Oh, God. So my son Henry is on. Well, Henry, he retracted the message. I saw it, Henry, before you got started. Who's my favorite kid? It depends on which one I'm around at the time. So if it's just you around, Henry, then you're my favorite. If it's just Michael around, then Michael's my favorite. If it's just Oscar, then Oscar's the favorite. If it's just Elizabeth, then Elizabeth is the favorite.
Well, there you go. Okay, so what animal would you be and why?
I can't believe Henry is watching this.
Probably with all his friends having a YouTube live streaming party. What animal would you be and why?
I missed the question. What?
If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
Oh, I'd definitely be a dog. Probably a lab. And I would just run around like crazy chasing balls all day.
Jumping into water?
Jumping in the water, not caring.
Eating cow shit?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
That's what they do.
Snuggling with people, getting petted all the time. They've got the life.
Yeah. With that breeder lady in Surrey. Okay. Now, another person had a really interesting question. When was the last time you laughed so hard that you cried? Like the tears came to your eyes.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have a bit of a no laughing rule in this house. So
It's so not true.
when was the last time I laughed so hard that I cried? Oh my gosh. I don't remember. Nothing sticks out in my head. I'm stumped. Do you have an idea?
It probably involved Luke and J-Mac, if I had to guess.
Oh, it was probably when Drunk Andy was around.
probably.
Yeah, that would have been...
Or beer pong while I was absent.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, that's probably it. I think I probably cried laughing that night. Can't talk about that, though.
Yeah. What happens stays silent. Okay, a Tableau-related question. What do you think about IronViz? If you could add one rule, what would it be?
Oh, I've been asking for this for years. I cannot stand how they get the data ahead of time. If IronViz was initially, at least from my perspective, supposed to be who's the best user of Tableau. If you get to plan it all out ahead of time and copy and paste calculations and all of that, you're not really demonstrating how to use Tableau. The one rule that I would implement is you don't get to see the data until you're on stage.
Okay. Now, Charlie has a question that I'm also curious to hear the answer.
Just keeps... Okay. Yes, it must have been able to hear it still. Okay.
Okay. So Charlie's question is, what will you be doing in 5 years' time?
In 5 years' time, gosh, I don't know what I'll be doing in 3 weeks, let alone in 5 years' time. Hopefully I'm doing the same job I'm doing now. I love it. It's like a hobby to me. I do want to, so Henry will probably be, he'll be in the last year of his A-levels. So he would be going to, so in 6 years, I hope to maybe move to Scotland. That would be great.
You heard it here first.
What else would I be doing in 5 years? I don't know, probably a lot of the same. I'm sure I'll find another hobby to keep me busy if I get tired of triathlons. But I did, so when Challenge Roth was canceled this year, they gave you the opportunity to let them keep the not the registration fee, but the like processing fee or something like that for the basically you can register for 2 more of their events in the next, I think, 10 years. So I'll be doing Challenge Ross at least 3 times in the next 10 years. So and it takes about a year to train for one of those. So that's 3 years right there.
Yay! Okay, let's go back to a very deep question.
Oh. Looks like Banoob is on now.
He is, yes.
No problem, Paul. You're still faster than Charlie. That's all that matters.
Didn't Charlie break his PB recently?
It's not official.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, in life, how do you overcome failures? Like, have you ever failed at anything, and how did you deal with it?
Oh, gosh. I fail all the time. I guess as a parent, you fail a lot because you feel like you're letting your kids down, or you have disagreements and things like that. That's really hard. I get through those just by talking about them, talking to the kids about it and listening to them, letting them talk and not talking. Let's see. I don't know. I don't fear failure. I don't really care if I fail. It's not, it's not a big deal. If I don't reach a goal, that's okay. I just work harder at it the next time. I don't know. I don't really think about fail. I don't let them dwell on me. Just move on.
Move on.
It's part of the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah. Good book. Speaking of that, what's your favorite book? Do you have one?
My favorite book of all time?
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be the Makeover Monday book.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite book of all time. Wow, that's a really hard question.
Or maybe this year?
This book was really fantastic. I think so. Eat and Run was really good by Scott Jurek. Mm-hmm. That's about basically kind of about nutrition and ultra running. Also, what was
Ultra? Finding Ultra?
Yeah, Finding Ultra is really, really good. I like reading nonfiction. I also really like books about the Vietnam War because I went there. It's very interesting to me to read about the culture. Oh no, my favorite book of all time is Pentagon's Brain. That is by far the best book I've ever read.
In the cupboard.
Yeah.
It should be. No? Okay.
I think my closet.
Oh, okay.
But definitely read Pentagon's Brain. It is incredible. Can I get the Makeover Monday book for free? Sorry, no. You can buy it and then you have it for free.
Yeah, because otherwise we have to pay for your book and we ain't a charity. Okay. Do you have anyone in the world of data and data viz who inspires you? Like a person who they inspire me.
Well, my earliest mentor was Dan Murray. He works for Interworks. He and I we met at the first conference in 2008. Have been great friends ever since. He's the person I would call my mentor. But is it somebody that inspires me all the time? Or
maybe someone where you say, wow, their style inspires me or something?
Oh gosh, there's so many people out there that... there's quite a few that have gone through the data school that I'm very, very jealous of. I really like Ellen Blackburn's style. So she was in DS9. I don't really, but I think I like her vizzes because they're elegant, but they're simple.
Mm-hmm.
Priya, who's in the DS now, her work is pretty outstanding. I'd have to go through my favorites.
What about Lindsay Poulter?
Yeah, Lindsay Poulter, definitely. Yeah, her work is incredible, and it's so super easy to understand, and that's what I like about it the best. Yeah.
And on the chat, we have a question from Lakshmi. I want to get your autograph. Would you give me one if I met you?
Of course.
Yeah, ideally in the Makeover Monday book, right?
Yeah, bring the book with you and we'll sign it.
So hopefully one day there will be events again and we can do that. Now, Denise, she submitted a question. The top 3 things that wannabe analysts, or let's call them aspiring analysts, should study besides Tableau. So for example, things like Python, SQL statistics. What would you recommend?
Well, SQL is always good to know. And Tableau is built on SQL. So if you understand SQL, it makes Tableau a lot easier to understand. I think I would focus a lot on soft skills. You need to learn how to ask questions. And the only way you get better at asking questions is to ask questions. And then you'll ask better questions. And when you ask better questions, you'll learn how to ask better questions, and so on and so forth. I would present as often as you can. Doesn't have to be about data. Present on anything. You need to get comfortable in front of an audience. But from a technical perspective, I would say the soft skills are probably more important.
So for a lot of people, when they go to Tableau conference, they have like their fan moment when they meet you.
Oh, I was waiting for this question.
Have you had a fanboy moment?
Absolutely. Hannah Fry. Oh my God. She's like a goddess. So she was speaking at, she spoke at TC Europe, and she was waiting off the side of the stage. So I just walked up and got a picture with her. All the Brits that were sitting there with me were too afraid to go up and talk to her, so I did. I figured, what's the worst thing she's going to tell me? No, she doesn't want a picture. And if she does, that's fine. I didn't,
You could always say, do you know who I am?
No, she wouldn't know. And then the year after that, all of the Zens were backstage for kind of before one of the opening keynotes, and Hannah Fry was the opening keynote. I forget what TC that was, a couple years ago.
15.
TC 15.
I had a big fangirl moment, okay. Yeah. I took a photo with her too.
And she was backstage, so Matt Francis and I went and got our picture with her, and we didn't tell anybody else we were going. So when we got back and they knew we got our picture with her, they were very jealous.
Yeah, I can see that. Anyhow, Actually, Matt Francis, you just mentioned him. I wonder if he's tuned in, because we haven't seen any comments yet. But he asked...
He would be commenting.
He would be. He's asking, why does the NFC East suck so bad?
Oh my God.
Short answer?
So for those of you that don't know what Matt's talking about, the NFC East is the conference that the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins, New York Giants, and Dallas Cowboys are in the NFL. And all of the teams are absolutely terrible. The Eagles have 3 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie, and they're in first place. That's how bad the teams are. Unfortunately, the team that wins the division drops down 15 spots for the draft picks. So you could, I mean, conceivably they could, the winner could only have 3 wins, and they still will be 20th or so in the draft. It's really terrible. I think they're all just trying to lose now. They're just so terrible. There's no explaining for it, Matt. Sorry, they're just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow it. I don't comprehend it, but I hear you complain about it. So yeah, sorry, it's so bad. Is there any questions on the chat that you want to answer? Okay, there's just some commenting. Okay. Okay, so I think we've answered this one from Jay, who said, Kevin Franklin, working with Tableau seems like the dream job. What was your route to it? So you shared about the information there. Maybe briefly, how did you first stumble across it?
So I started using Tableau on April 11th of 2007, so a little over 13 years ago now. And it was completely by chance. I was working in revenue management at Coca-Cola, and we needed some dashboards built to help us kind of monitor the annual planning process. And I was given that task. So, like any good analyst, I turned to Google and I looked for dashboard software. And Tableau was the first thing that came up. I read the kind of blurb about it, said it was free. I was like, all right, I'll install it. So I installed it, watched the first few videos, and had the entire project done in 30 minutes, and was just hooked from then. And then I went from the revenue management team into supporting the sales team. So my role was as a trades. I was doing trade spend optimization, basically like optimizing ads that are run and for Walgreens and CVS and Rite Aid for those that are in the U.S. And what was really, really cool about that job was that we actually used Tableau in the sales call. So I would go with the VPs on these sales calls of theirs, and we would literally just use Tableau in front of the customers and answer their questions. And it was like game changing for these customers. I had been blogging for a while then, and Facebook then recruited me to come work for them and run their COE. So I did that for a couple of years before deciding to move over here to the UK.
And now that you're here in the UK, Banoob is asking,
Richmond Park.
Do you prefer running in Richmond Park or Bushy Park?
Richmond Park, definitely, over Bushy Park.
What do you like about Richmond Park?
It's got hills.
That's why I like Bushy
It's not
Park.
as boring.
But it's also, there's more variety, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, nice and big as well. And Denise had a question about the data school. What is the structure of the training program? She's curious to hear how those 4 months are.
Oh, yeah.
spent.
Okay. So the data school is 4 months of training. That's the part of the program that I run. And then it's 4 6-month consulting engagements after that. So the training is split up into, you can think of it as like 16 one-week modules. They're split half and half between learning Tableau and learning Alteryx. And it just goes through a pretty structured curriculum. We've done it long enough now that we kind of know the sequence of how they need to learn things. It's built mostly upon like learn the fundamentals and then repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat over and over again until you're completely comfortable that you're an expert in it. And so over the course of those 16 weeks, 8 of those weeks they're doing full-time training Monday through Thursday, and then they get given a project on Friday morning based on the things they've learned that week that they then have to present by Friday afternoon. So they have a project they have to do in about half a day. The other weeks we do free projects for our customers. And in those weeks, we start with a project kickoff with the customer and we end with presentations back to the customer. The rest of the week is split half and half between training and working on the project. We rotate who the project lead is. So those are the projects where they can learn about interacting with customers, taking requirements, scope management, presenting to the customers, how do you ask questions, all those sorts of soft skills that are much harder to teach. I believe that those are things that you just need to be able to do. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. But, every week they have to present. So, and like this week, for example, it's dashboard week for DS21. And they get given a new project every morning. They start at 9 o'clock and they have to be done by 3, and everybody has to present, have written a blog post and everything. So it's really great.
Cool. And Kevin asked on the chat, and I do want to ask you this, Tableau versus Power BI, because you've tested Power BI at least.
Yeah.
You've played with it and stuff, and I think you've got quite a clear opinion on both.
Yeah, I mean, they both have their place. What truly sets Tableau apart for me, and this is something that I think is getting lost more and more, is the rapid fire analytics. That was what got me hooked on Tableau, to be able to ask and answer questions super, super quickly. If you're looking for a dashboarding tool, use whatever the hell you want. I wouldn't use Excel. Use something that can generate, the reports you need. Of course, Tableau I think is easier to use. You have a lot more customization options and things like that. But Power BI definitely does not do the analytics the way that Tableau can do it. No other product does it the way that Tableau can do it.
Yeah, agreed. Like I mean, you have to decide what dashboard and what chart you want to build before you've even looked at the data, right?
Yeah,
so it's a completely different approach.
So, like, for example, if you come to any of the Watch Me Viz sessions that I do on Mondays, you'll see that I iterate through lots and lots and lots of charts because I get different ideas as I go along. You can't do that in Power BI. You have to know exactly what chart you want. The data has to be exactly the right structure before you can do anything.
Now, Scott asked about Parkrun and any idea why they are not so big in the US?
Well, Parkruns do exist in the US, just not as popular. That's a really good question. I don't know why. Probably because Americans love their cars too much and they don't exercise enough.
Well, because in Germany, when I helped start the Nuremberg one in 2018, that was number 6, and that was 12 or 11 years after. And my theory is that in Germany, because the clubs are so popular, that people don't really need to go. So I wonder in the US, because sports is so heavily popular and so organized, whether there's no need for them.
It could be, yeah. I mean, I'm really surprised it hasn't caught on over in the US. There's certainly plenty of places you could do them. I don't know why. They really should. It's an incredible. The Parkrun is great.
Okay, Sarah Bartlett, hello Sarah, asks, what's your favorite ever TC talk?
My favorite ever TC talk? I would say Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah. TC 14, 13?
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Before your time.
Before my time.
Yeah.
I think mine was Adam Grant, but you missed that one.
Yeah.
But Banoob, that was his favorite as well, I bet. Adam Grant, yeah. That was probably my biggest fangirl moment because our faces were on the stage. Anyway, now Priyam is asking about writing a blog, but I don't know what he's asking. So Priyam, maybe you can specify a bit more what you're actually asking. And there is a question from, there's people saying thank you. And there's also some questions I don't quite understand because there seems like they're missing words. And this one from Krishma, I'm trying to make sense of because it says, "Hi Andy, I just want to know what tools you use to create such amazing Tableau dashboards."
I use Tableau.
Yeah. Is there more to it? I guess maybe it's similar to a different question we had about these, Figma and other tools to create backgrounds and things.
Yeah, I don't do all the background image and all that stuff. I think that's cheating.
Okay. Okay, so I think that question we already had about other important skills. Is there something you want to share without being asked a question?
That I want to share?
Yeah, something you want to talk about.
I don't know. Well, I think it's kind of weird that you all attended this just to sit here and listen to us talk. I think we're all a bit deranged with this Tableau thing.
Get your plaque.
Oh, yeah.
Yes! I've meant to ask you this earlier. Get your plaque. How many people have seen the picture of Andy smiling with his plaque already on Twitter? And maybe you can do a little emoji response when he holds it up. Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of like the blue plaques that you see around London and the UK. There's one around the corner that is so Vincent van Gogh used to live around the corner, which was pretty cool. And I don't know how Tableau knew that I like blue plaques, but this came in the mail today, and it's like super, super cool. Eva had the idea to put it out front, so as my desk looks right out into the street. I like it there because I can like people watch during the day too, and so Eva had the idea to put it like right next to the window, and when people stop to look at it, I could just wave to them and act all crazy, and just say, yeah, come on in, here's some cookies.
Yeah. Well, I think Taha was a bit worried there would be a pilgrimage, and
no,
that would be just weird. I also don't know what the landlord would think if we drill more holes into the walls. Denise said you invited us to this YouTube live to tell us that we're weird for being here? ?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So why do people come? Let's put maybe the question back to you all.
Yeah.
Why would you come listen to something like this?
Yeah. What makes you curious about Andy? Why are you just all fangirling and fanboying?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think, it's really interesting. I think of Tableau more like an extension of a giant friend network. There aren't really many assholes in the Tableau community. If there are, they get run out by the other people in the community because people just stop talking to them. It's just like the most friendly group of people, and I don't hear of other tools that have this like cult-like following that Tableau does. I find it absolutely fascinating that Tableau is like this, and that people do like watching other people create a viz, or they give each other feedback on Twitter, and everybody wants everybody to get better. There's not really this competition for, I want to be the best, or, everybody has something to learn every single day. And I think that's what I love most about Tableau.
Yeah. Now, you're not allowed to look at the comments. Look away, because I'm going to read them out to you, because you asked why people are tuning in. So, Benoob says, gets me out of kit duty.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Neutrino says, because you're a young man with a lot of knowledge.
I'm not young.
Well, clearly you look like young. You are our guru. Scott wanted to see you live and hear your story. Mark Bradburn says he personally finds you very interesting. In a completely appropriate way.
Interesting.
Ceci says, I learned Tableau watching your videos. Kevin says, blue plaque viz, let's do it. Yeah, maybe you can get some data on blue plaques.
It already exists.
Oh, excellent. Michelle says that it's nice to get to know people who are part of the community. Denise said she's looking for insight and already had a friend that was impressed because she knows you.
Oh,
That's
who's the friend?
Cool. Michelle, maybe. Michelle Godet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that?
I don't
who
know.
Said that?
Denise.
Oh, okay.
Luke says he's stuck in a hotel in Warwick and the bar is shut due to COVID. Nice. Rinku said you help us a lot in learning. Sarah Bartlett says she misses both of us and she's still working. Ioana says because you're a great inspiration, it's amazing to hear your experiences. And Denise says she also enjoys talking to everyone else while they're talking to us. Ashwin says maybe see the person behind the amazing help videos that you put out there. And
I did do video yesterday on my Watch Me Viz, and I think I'm probably going to stop doing that. It was kind of weird. I see like the kids watching gamers play on YouTube, and you always see like their picture in the corner. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I finally figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, maybe it's not as cool as I thought it was.
Maybe you're not as cool as the YouTube gamers.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin asked how old you are. Are you going to tell?
You should never ask a man his age. I am 47. Wait, is that right?
Yes.
47, yes.
Oh, it's so funny.
But my Garmin tells me I'm 20.
Yeah, same. Fitness age, they call it, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think it tells everybody that.
Probably,
like,
just to make people feel good. Or maybe it's a feature. Ankit says, which tool will dominate visualization in the near future?
Who knows?
Tableau.
Hopefully
in the
Tableau.
near future, it's probably still going to be Tableau. Your teaching has no technique. It was too genuine, and your idea of developing others. Oh, I think this is a compliment. Like, it's not, maybe it has no ulterior motive. Maybe that's kind of what's meant there.
Right.
And Brittany's in the process of moving and procrastinating, packing. Oh my God, procrastination. I love it. I do that.
Eva did that today, as a matter of fact.
I did. Because I had to process some stuff in my brain and I needed a break. Don't stop the video. Okay, and also don't stop Watch Me Viz. You're going to continue those?
Probably. I mean, I need to do Makeover Monday anyway, so I might as well just, do it then. I don't know. Sometimes it, like, I need to probably, I think I'm taking too long. I feel like the last couple weeks I've spent too much time just trying to do things rather than getting straight to what I think is best. But then I get feedback from people saying that they like that I go through a lot of iterations, but then I can't get it done in an hour. So it's kind of this toss-up of how much detail do I, how much, because I know it really helps people to go through all of those different things. So
somebody asked, how old would your kids say you are? And Henry responded, ancient.
Henry Kriebel.
No gelato tomorrow. Sorry, that made me laugh. That was quite funny. And seeing the hamster next to it is rather amusing. Okay, now... Oh, Kirti says she likes to listen to me, and since the conversation is with you, she's here.
So
That's
I'm
nice.
second fiddle. That's fine.
Maybe next time we turn the tables and you ask me the questions. Are there any more questions that people have and they want to put in the chat? Neutrino asked, should Arsenal play Ozil? Absolutely not. Why? He's useless. He's lazy.
Yeah, but he's better than anything they have.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can't...
I want to know what question Henry has.
Yes. Yeah, maybe Henry has a question.
Shouldn't you be, like, reading or something, Henry?
I'm just going to check the spreadsheet again, but there's nothing else that's... Do you have any favorite visualizations that come to mind that were created in the Tableau community?
Oh, gosh. Well, I use the favorites feature on Tableau Public a lot. So, yeah, I would just check there. Those are my favorites.
Yeah. And Dimitri, who's a really cool dude up in Seattle, I met there at a Tableau user group, he's asking whether you have any preferred or best teaching methods. Like, is there any methodology that you like?
Well, so the process that I use is you basically do kind of three things. First, you explain the concept, and usually you do that through the form of a demo or something like that. And then you do an exercise together, and then I give them exercises to do after that. So you're kind of reinforcing it 3 times. Okay. So
Henry makes us laugh. So the plants have actually been here for about 3 weeks, but they just have different locations.
They're staged. Everything's staged.
It's just staged, because otherwise it would just be an empty wall. And the candles arrived yesterday. The candle holder has been up there ever since we moved in. But it
smells much better now, Henry. It smells like Christmas.
Yeah, because I've purchased some smelly candles. Okay.
So how much pocket money is Henry getting this week? So yeah, Henry gets allowance, and he's really good about doing his chores when he's asked. He doesn't do any if he doesn't get asked, but what kid does? But he also has an incentive that whatever he saves at the end of the month, we will match half of it. So trying to teach him how to save, and he gets these. It's really interesting to. He gets in these dilemmas about how he wants something, but he wants to save, and it's really funny. So it's a good way for him to learn how to work with money.
Yeah. And
he just says okay.
So
Henry's a man of many words. If you can't tell.
Oh, this one's interesting from Kevin. Was there one thing about Tableau that made you get it? One thing you sat back and thought, now I get it.
Absolutely. Table calculations. There was, I don't remember what it was that I watched, but all of a sudden, I mean, I had been using Tableau for probably, 10 years maybe. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just all made sense. It was amazing.
And that's actually a question that Rodrigo had also submitted and that I must have skipped over. I remember now. So Denise asked whether if everyone pulled their money together and gave Henry a little pocket money, whether you would match that as well. No. I think that could be a risky move.
No.
No, we're not doing crowdfunding.
No.
Okay. And Dimitri says, your recipes are butter-free and use margarine. Did you know the US now calls it buttery spread and stick margarine is harder to find?
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. And lastly, and I know this is a question that you're probably not going to answer, but there have been a few people asking, are there going to be other data schools in other places?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say never. There's talk about it here and there, but right now there's no plans to do anything. We've got a great recruiting setup now. So Luke Stoughton, who's on the call here, he manages all of that for us. But as of now, we're not planning to expand right now.
Okay, I guess that clears that up. And I think I've kind of exhausted all the questions I've had on various platforms, so maybe it's time.
Why don't we wrap it up there then? Well, thank you everybody for attending. This was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and thank you for hosting. And I enjoyed the conversation.
Had nothing else to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that's it.
And we'll put those links. I took note of what you promised, so we'll put the links in the description below the video once it's all done.
Okay. Just remember, just the only way you're ever going to get better at this stuff is to keep practicing. So